I was first called a fairy in second grade. I was the skinny kid with glasses, the smartest student, but sensitive and lonely. To my classmates, I was an odd kid with a differentness that set me apart. My awkwardness made it easy for them to tease me and call me names like fairy and sissy. I spent a painful childhood and adolescence knowing that I was attracted to men and struggling to handle the deep shame I felt about it. When I was 14, I was so mortified by any sign I was a homosexual that I sometimes wore rulers up my sleeves to keep my limp wrists stiff. When I was 16, I was in such despair over my secret shame that I thought about committing suicide by taking too much aspirin. But fortunately, I only swallowed a couple pills before I thought better of it. I learned early on how to deflect criticism and be myself, largely by spending most of my time alone, building a magical world in my own imagination. This world was peopled by the characters in the popular children's entertainment of the day, from Peter Pan to Superman and Hercules, Disney features, and endless Saturday morning cartoons and cowboy shows. I loved it all. At the same time, all this time, another life was building inside me, a spiritual life based on faith. My paternal grandparents had been Presbyterian missionaries to Korea, and my parents were leaders in our local congregational church. Mom and Dad raised me to be a good Christian, and through my early travels to the Holy Land and my ongoing Christian education, my faith grew. God did not call me to the ministry at that early age. I decided early on I wanted to be a musical theater actor. From my first time on stage as Death in a children's theater production of The Emperor's Nightingale, through productions at Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts, where I grew up, Interlochen National Music Camp, and Northwestern University, as well as 5 summers of summer stock, I thrived on performing. It was the place I felt most at home. Between the ages of 15 and 23, I did over 70 productions, mostly musicals, and most of them in principal character roles. The exhilaration I felt on stage countered the shame I felt about being a homosexual. When I graduated from Northwestern, it seemed as if all the doors in professional theater kept slamming in my face. If casting directors wanted a character actor, they hired a person the age of the character, usually older than I. Discouraged, I soon didn't try very hard to get to auditions. Instead, I answered a call to the ministry. Even after being diagnosed with AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, a few years later, I continued to follow my call to preach and teach.